So you own this great little cultivator, the Honda FG110 cultivator. This thing is awesome. You know it. You've used it. But what do I got to do to get the most out of it? What maintenance do I need to do? How do I store it? Those sort of things. So real quickly, this is a 4-cycle engine, right? So it takes gas right here and oil right here. A little bit of oil. We're talking like 2.5 ounces of oil. That's not much. So, and I point that out because that means we probably better keep up on the oil and probably better change it often enough. And as far as gas, we always recommend an ethanol-free fuel, right? And think about how we can go through that fuel. Hopefully you can pull this out once a month and use it, or maybe every 2 weeks you're cruising down your garden rows. But when October rolls around and my flower beds are kind of done for the year, and my garden's done for the year, this is going to go into hibernation. At that point in time, I want to be careful with the gas I put in. I want to make sure it's treated, or I want to make sure it's a canned fuel that's a perfect gas. Okay, so we know about gas, we know about oil. Let's talk about starting real quick, and we'll go over a few of the other things. So we've got a stop switch or an on-off switch right here. Okay, so it's got to be in the middle. Okay, and we've got a primer. It's kind of hard to see, but we've got a primer right here in between the fuel tank and the air filter. Prime it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can't flood it by priming it. We just want to make sure that we felt that fuel go through the primer. And then we've got a choke right here on the back. Okay, flip that choke up. Here's something I do, and I don't think everybody does this. I set it on its nose, right like this, because then I don't have to worry about the tine spinning and taking off or having it jostle around. I can simply go like this. It's fired up. The choke is still on. And slowly take the choke off. Took it off too fast. Usually I'll let it run in that choke position for 10 or 15 seconds and warm up. Great little engine, but seems to be a little bit cold-blooded. So not a bad idea to just kind of let it hang out on choke a little bit and warm up. Okay, and once it's warmed up, then I'm going to flip it up. And I'm ready to go to work. Okay, now let's talk about things that cause some problems, some hiccups. One is how we store it, and not gas storage, but really how do I store this in my shed? Is it sitting like this? Is it hanging on the wall? I have found the best way to store this machine is in this position. And the reason why is this has oil in it. It has a crankcase, and I'm putting oil in the bottom, and it seems that when it sits for long term, that oil kind of wants to work its way up the valve train and fill the cylinder with oil. I know that's not what we want to have happen. It's kind of weird, but I've seen it. So, storage like this, okay? In my opinion, get rid of these. These wheels, they make it look a little cooler, right? They maybe make it a little easier to roll out to the garden, but this thing's light enough. It weighs 25 pounds. Either carry it out, or if you start it up, you can kind of, as long as you're not on concrete, if you're on your lawn, you can kind of just lightly pull the throttle trigger and it'll walk itself out. So, oh yeah, let's pull that pin out. That makes this come apart. Okay, this would end up on the top shelf of my shed. I probably should end up in the trash or recycle because I'm never going to use it. Why don't I like those? It gets in the way. With this cultivator, as you maybe experienced, it works better when pulling backwards, and those wheels in the back, they just kind of get in the way. So get those off of there. Next is, I want to make sure that every once in a while, I take these tines off and clean it, all right? So I'm going to get weeds grow up around it. I'm going to maybe get dirt in here. So if I never take these tines off, I'm going to get quite the buildup of long stringy weeds, or maybe some string that you had in the garden that was hanging up the beans or something like that. So take those off, clean it, but if I never take it off, they'll probably never come off. It's hard to get them off. So let's say once a year you take them off, slide them off, and put it back together. But when you put it back together, make sure you follow the sequence that you took them off in. And the reason I say that is I see people do this right here. They'll put it on backwards like that. See how that tine is now facing out? And what that does, that tine design, it will throw stuff up like crazy up high. A lot of dirt, and what that dirt is it's being shot right towards the air filter. And I've seen beautiful FG110 cultivators sucking so much dirt it kills the engine. So you may be tempted because it might change the digging characteristics or maybe fit your application better, but be warned, you're risking the life of your cultivator. So always put it together how it was designed to be put together, which is then facing in. Okay, just like that. Let's go back. You know what? I changed my sequence because I flipped that to the other side here. I tell you, do as I say, not as I do. I tell my kids that. Probably makes me sound old to them. Pop those back in. So we know how to store it. We know how to pull the tines off and put them on, and why we should put them on one way or another. Oil change, initially 10 hours. Then you can grab your book. Air filter clean every 25 hours. Engine oil change 6 months or 50 hours. 50 hours is a lot of use. So definitely, if you don't put 50 hours on a year, let's change that oil every year. Remember, it's such a small amount. It's like 2.5 ounces, right? So this quart is going to last 10 years or more. That's a long time. So keep an eye on your oil. One thing that causes some problems is the stop switch. I don't know why, but sometimes people will bump it mid-use. So if it shuts off mid-use, check your stop switch. You probably knocked that sideways. If I want to fold it up, I can loosen these wing knobs. It'll fold over for compact, for putting it in the car. Hey, that's the FG110 cultivator. For more accessory options that you can put on here, including an aerator or an edger or a dethatcher or different style tines, stop by Carl's Mower and Saw. For a full line of Honda tillers, check out what we have at Carl's Mower and Saw.